Prior to the Rev Proc 2037 that gave us a safe harbor for doing reverse exchanges, many intermediaries were facilitating reverse exchanges, but they had no safe harbor or no parameters to know how long or how to structure a reverse exchange. They only had old case law and old tax precedents to rely on. So these were sometimes called common law reverse exchanges. Now, the beauty of that time frame was that we weren't limited to 180-day parking arrangements. After Rev Proc 2037, the common form of doing a reverse exchange was to do them in the reverse safe harbor, which capped us at 180 days. But in Rev Proc 2037, it specifically says that they don't make any inference as to non-safe harbor reverses that were done prior to the Rev Proc or even after. And so the door was left open that perhaps non-safe harbor reverse exchanges that park a property for longer than 180 days are still a valid and proper way to do a reverse exchange. Though they are a little bit more complicated and they don't have the definiteness of a safe harbor, they're still valid. In a recent case called Estate of Bartell, the court finally rendered a decision after thinking about it for 10 years. And this was a reverse exchange in which the holding period went beyond 180 days. And there was an argument that the entity that was parking the replacement property, which did not really have a whole lot of skin in the game or economic upside or downside, the argument the IRS made was that this is just an agent of the taxpayer, a patsy, and they don't really have any risk of loss. They're just kind of accommodating this exchange for the benefit of the taxpayer. But the court said no. There's a written agreement here that says that the accommodator that's holding the property is doing so to facilitate a 1031 exchange. And even though they don't have a lot of skin in the game and they don't have a lot of economic upside, they are doing it for the facilitation of the exchange. And therefore, we're going to respect the taxpayer's arrangement and not collapse this down and invalidate the exchange. Well, the pendency of this case, which took 10 years to come out, created a lot of rancor and uncertainty as to whether non-safe harbor exchanges were legit. And the issuance of the decision in Estate of Bartell gives us a breath of fresh air that, hey, these non-safe harbor exchanges are probably okay after all. Now, the IRS is appealing the case in Estate of Bartell, and so we don't have a full and final disposition until we find out whether the appeal comes through or not. Stand by for more news on the Estate of Bartell.